Good day, friends. The Yellow Wallpaper. It is a short story written by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. It tells the tale of a woman suffering from postpartum depression. Postpartum depression prescribed the rest cure by her husband, a physician confined to an upstairs room with yellow wallpaper. The protagonist becomes obsessed with the pattern she sees, eventually believing there is a woman trapped behind the wallpaper. As her mental state deteriorates, she identifies more with the woman in the wallpaper, ultimately tearing it down in a desperate act of liberation, symbolizing her rejection of the oppression treatment imposed upon her. The story serves as a powerful critique of the medical and societal attitude towards women's mental health in the late 19th century. The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman has received critical acclaim and analysis from various writers and scholars over the years. Here are some perspectives and themes explored by different critics. So the first themes involved in this short story, the Yellow Wallpaper, is the feminist interpretations. Many feminist scholars view the story as a powerful critique of the patriarchal medical establishment and societal norms of the late 19th century. Gilman's depiction of the protagonist confinement and mistreatment reflects broader themes of women's oppression and autonomy. So the second theme involved in this is psychological interpretation. Psychologists and literary critics have analyzed the story portrayal of mental illness, particularly postpartum depression and its treatment. The descent into madness experienced by the protagonist is seen as a poignant depiction of the effect of social isolation and enforced passivity. The third theme here we have is symbolism and imagery. Critics often highlights the symbolic use of yellow wallpaper itself as a metaphor for the protagonist's mental and emotional state. The gradual unraveling of the wallpaper parallels the protagonist's own unraveling psyche, emphasizing themes of confinement and liberation. The fourth theme which involved in this story is narrative technique. The story use of first person's narrative combined with stream of consciousness style enhances the reader's immersion into the protagonist's subjective experience. Critics praise Gilman's ability to create a catastrophic atmosphere and build tension through the protagonist's increasingly unreliable narration. The fifth theme is the social critique behind its psychological and feminist dimension. Critic also explores how the yellow wallpaper critiques broader social attitude towards women's health, creativity, and agency. Gilman's portrayal of the protagonist's struggle for self-expression resonates with themes of artistic repression and personal freedom. Overall, the Yellow Wallpaper continues to be celebrated for its innovative narrative technique, its incisive critique of gender roles and mental health treatment, and its enduring relevance in discussions of women's rights and mental health advocacy. So the Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman remain a seminal work in literature, uh, acclaim for exploration of complex themes, innovative narrative technique. So we have an expanded review of in this critical perspective, the feminist critic. The story is widely regarded as powerful feminist critique of patriarchal medical establishment and societal norms of 19th century. Gilman exposes the damaging effects of a rest cure prescribed to the protagonist by her husband, highlighting the control and oppression faced by women in the name of medical treatment. Psychological depth, psychologists and literary critics analyze the protagonist's descent into madness, attributed to postpartum depression exacerbated by social isolation and enforced passivity. The narrative skillfully portrays the protagonist's deteriorating mental state through vivid imagery and unreliable narration. Symbolism and imagery. Critics emphasize the symbolic significances of Yellow Wallpaper itself, which serves as a metaphor for the protagonist's deteriorating mental health and entrapment within the social expectation. The act of tearing down the wallpaper symbolizes her desperate attempt to reclaim agency and autonomy. Narrative technique, Gilman's use of first person narrative and stream of consciousness style immerse reader in the protagonist's subjective experiences, creating a claustrophobic atmosphere that intensifies her mental state unravels. Critics applaud Gilman's ability to build suspense and tension through the protagonist's increasingly fragmented thought. Social commentary behind its psychological and feminist dimension. The story critiques broader social attitude toward women's health, creativity, autonomy. Gilman challenges traditional gender roles and advocates for women's right to self-expression and independence. So, the conclusion of this Yellow Wallpaper continues to be celebrated for its profound exploration of gender dynamics, mental health, social expression. Its enduring relevance lies in the critique of historical and contemporary issues, making it a cornerstone of feminist literature, an essential read in discussion of women's rights and mental health advocacy. Charlotte Perkins, let me tell you about the author. Gilman, born in 1860, died in 1935, was an American feminist, sociologist, lecturer, and writer. She is best known for her short story, The Yellow Wallpaper, which is considered a seminal work of feminist literature. Gilman was born in Hartford, Connecticut, and faced numerous challenges in early life, including her father abandoning the family when she was young. Despite these hardships, she pursued an education and became an advocate for women's rights and social reform. Gilman's writing often explored themes of gender inequality, women's autonomy, and the consequences of the patriarchal oppression. She used her fiction and non-fiction works to critique the prevailing attitude towards women's roles in society, particularly in the realms of marriage, motherhood, and professional life. Her advocacy extended to promoting economic independence for women, challenging the prevailing medical treatment for women's mental health issue as reflected in this short story in the Yellow Wallpaper. Behind her literary contribution, Gilman was a prominent lecturer, social reformer, advocating for women's suffrage, social reform through her speeches and writings. Her ideas influenced generation of feminist thinkers and continued to resonate in discussion on gender equality and women's rights today. Charlotte Perkins Gilman remains a significant figure in American literature and feminist history, celebrated for her pioneering contribution to both fields. So, ladies and gentlemen, this Yellow Wallpaper, written by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, is no doubt an outstanding short story. It highlights the issues of women's depression and those women who faced such situation in our society and in everywhere else. Thank you for the kind listening.